Hello, welcome back to the reading of the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 1, Chapter 103, Part 1. Jesus on Lebanon with the shepherds Benjamin and Daniel. 10th February 1945. Jesus is walking beside Jonathan along a green, shady embankment. The apostles are behind, talking among themselves. But Peter parts from them and comes forward and, as frank as usual, he asks Jonathan, "But was the road to Caesarea Philippi not quicker? We have taken this one, but when will we arrive? You went that way with your mistress, didn't you?" "With an invalid I dared everything, but you must realize that I am a courtier of Antipas, and Philip, after that filthy incest, does not approve of Herod's courtiers. You know I am not afraid for myself, but I do not want to cause trouble to you, and particularly to the master, and make enemies for you. In Philip's tetrarchy, the word is required, as in Antipas, and if they hate you, how will you manage? On your way back, you can come this way if you prefer to do so." "I praise your prudence, Jonathan, but coming back I intend passing through the Phoenician region," says Jesus. "They are enveloped in the darkness of errors. I will call at the border areas to remind them that there is a light." "Do you think that Philip would revenge himself on a servant for the wrong he received from his brother?" "Yes, Peter, they are both alike. They are dominated by the lowest instincts and they make no distinction. They seem animals, not men, believe me. And yet he should be fond of us, that is, of him, a relative of John's. John, after all, spoke in his name and on his behalf when he spoke in the name of God. He would not even ask you where you came from or who you are, if you were seen with me, if he recognized me, or if I was pointed out to him by an enemy of Antipas's household as the servant of his procurator. You would be imprisoned at once. If you knew how much mud there is behind purple dresses, revenge, abuse of power, betrayals, lust, thefts are the nourishment of their souls. Souls? Well, let us say so. I think they have no souls any longer. You can see it ended well, but why was John freed? Because of a feud between two court officials, one to get rid of the other, who was so favored by Antipas that John was placed in his custody. For a sum of money opened the jail at night. I think he must have dulled his rival's senses with the drugged wine, and the following morning the poor fellow was beheaded in place of the Baptist who had escaped. Disgusting, I tell you. And your master stays there? He seems to be a good man." "He is, but he cannot do otherwise. His father and his grandfather were at the court of Herod the Great, and the son was compelled to be there. He does not approve, but he could only keep his wife away from that vicious court. Could he not say, 'You are disgusting,' and go away?" He could, but although he is so good, he is not yet capable of such a deed. It would almost certainly mean death. And who is anxious to die because of his soul's honesty, elevated to the highest degree? A saint like the Baptist. But we, poor people. Jesus, who has allowed them to speak among themselves, comes in. Before long, in all known areas of the world, the saints, happy to die for such fidelity to grace and for the love of God, will be as thick as flowers on a meadow in April. Really? Oh, I would like to greet those saints and say to them, 'Pray for poor Simon of Jonas,'" says Peter. Jesus looks steadfastly at him, smiling. "Why are you looking at me like that?" "Because you will see them as their assistant, and you will see them when they assist you." "For what, Lord?" "To become the stone consecrated by the sacrifice, on which my testimony will be celebrated and built." "I do not understand you." "You will understand." The other disciples who have come near and have listened talk among themselves. Jesus turns round. I solemnly tell you that you will all be tested by one torture or another. For the time being, it is the renunciation of comfort, of affections, of material profit. Afterwards, it will be a greater and greater thing, up to the sublime thing that will crown you with an immortal diadem. Be faithful, and you will all be faithful. And that is what you will have. Will the Jews, the Sanhedrin, perhaps kill us because of our love for you? Jerusalem washes the thresholds of its temple in the blood of its prophets and its saints. But also the world is waiting to be washed. There are many temples of dreadful gods. They will in future be temples of the true God, and the leprosy of paganism will be cleansed by the lustral water made with the blood of martyrs. O Most High God, Lord, Master, I am not worthy of so much. I am so weak, afraid of evil. O Lord, either send me away, your useless servant, or give me strength. I would not like to make you cut a poor figure with my cowardice. Peter has thrown himself at the feet of the Master, and he really implores him with heartfelt words. Stand up, my dear Peter. Do not be afraid. You still have a long way to go, and the time will come when you will wash only to endure your final trial. And then you will have everything, both from heaven and from yourself. I will be looking at you full of admiration. You say so, and I believe it, but I am such a poor man. They resume walking, and after a long interruption I begin to see again when they have already left the plain to climb up a very high wooded mountain. Probably it is not even the same day, because whilst then it was a very torrid morning, now a beautiful dawn causes tiny liquid diamonds to sparkle on all the stems. Endless coniferous forests have been left behind, and they dominate from their height, and like green cathedrals, they receive the untiring pilgrims amongst their columns. Lebanon is really a wonderful mountain chain. I do not know whether the whole chain is Lebanon or only this mountain. I know that I can see well-wooded mountain ranges rise in a high tangle of ridges and cliffs, of valleys and plateaux, along with torrents like light green, blue, silver ribbons flow and then fall into the valleys. All kinds of birds fill the forest of conifers with their warblings and their flights, and the morning air is perfumed with the fragrance of resins. On turning towards the valley, or rather to the west, one can see the wide, quiet, solemn sea, so pleasant to the view, and the coast which stretches northwards and southwards, with its towns, its harbors, and the few watercourses that flow into the sea, and look like shiny commas on the arid land. So scarce is their water, which the summer sun dries up, and seem yellowish finger marks on the blue sea. This has been a reading from the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 1, Chapter 103, Part 1, Jesus on Lebanon, with the shepherds Benjamin and Daniel. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow. May God bless you, and may peace be with you.